else wants to watch it. And again, welcome to our monthly refresher webinar. And feel free to, if people want to join, other people are not already on the invite, feel free to either forward the invite to them or send that to me. I'm happy to add them to the list. Today, we're going to talk about search inside yourself and letting go. So I kind of had this idea of, came across this meditation that is investigating patterns of our thoughts and emotions and so forth. So that's the search inside yourself. And then the sort of the opposite in some ways of letting go. So that's the main theme for today. We'll try to get 2 meditations in, one for each of those. And in a minute or two, I'll ask you how it's going. And if you have any questions or needs or resources that you might need or whatever it is, I'll open that up in a minute. But first, let's just pause. And in our pause, just kind of being aware of what's going on for you right now, sort of an internal check. So if it helps to close your eyes, you can do that, but just pausing for a minute or two to just notice your body. How does your body feel? Noticing the position of your body, the connection your body makes with the chair and the floor. Maybe just doing a quick scan, being aware of how the body is. And then notice that the body is breathing and paying attention to the breath. Just in a very relaxed, easy way, just noticing the breath as an anchor, as a way to gather our attention. And then bringing them together. And as you breathe, just noticing the body sensations of breath at the nose or the chest or the belly, wherever you feel it most. And you might also notice any mental activity, thoughts swirling around, stuff that's going on in our lives. But just as a way to kind of, you can acknowledge that, but letting go, and we'll do more of that later, but letting go and just anchoring yourself in your body with your breath. And just as a way to be present. And if you've had your eyes closed, you can open them. And again, just a quick pause. And that's a good, simple thing to do, to notice the body, be aware of body sensations, of how the body's feeling the breath for a few cycles. And this is the kind of thing that can be done anytime, anywhere, right? So it's a good informal kind of practice. Those are always something that I include. So how's your practice going? I always like to have, for me, I know it's a balance of informal, everyday, kind of like being aware of what you're doing in the moment, being aware of what happens when we react to things in traffic or in meetings or in life in general. And kind of grounding ourselves with some of those mindful techniques. And then, of course, I think one of the main cornerstones of our practice are some sort of formal practice, sitting or lying down or doing some formal way of being still and kind of doing nothing on purpose, paying attention, whatever you do, paying attention to your breath. I've been using the app 10% Happier a lot lately because they have a daily new meditation every day. And so it's kind of a way to kind of keep some fresh content with the meditations. But that's just for me. So how about the rest of you? How's it going? You're able to find some time to do some of the practices, or or is there still some challenges with that? Or hopefully you're using maybe some of our phone meditations as well, kind of give you a reminder about those. So how's it going? You guys need anything or want to share anything about?
I got a little off track, but I got back on track with some Rick Hansen meditations guided, and that got me back on regular practice.
Yeah, that's great. Rick Hansen is, I think, a great resource for if you don't know about him. I think if you just Google, you'll find out, and you can sign up. He has a newsletter that comes out quite regularly, and he's got a lot of stuff on YouTube, and he does a podcast with his son. That's quite good. And I think they do a new episode every week. Looking for the name of it, called Being Well. Being Well with Dr. Rick Hansen and Forrest Hansen, that's his son. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I find that sometimes I come across a different teacher or teaching, and that really kind of helps me with some fresh information and those kinds of things. So yeah, so here's a good comment from Sheila in the chat. Meditation and deep breathing is what I turn to when I need to calm down. Yeah, and be in the moment. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the essence of it, isn't it? And so we'll be talking about that in a couple of minutes, how it kind of calms our mind and our body down, and that allows us to be more present and to have more choice in the moment. Roberta's still doing a body scan every night. Good. Insight Timer, that's another great resource. A lot of, I mean, like many thousands of free meditations. Oh, good. And you're doing it with a buddy. I'm glad you said that, Roberta. Really good to have a buddy to kind of touch base with, especially about this sort of thing. It can be very reinforcing, I think. So that's great. Yeah, it really is a good idea. So even if, maybe some of you want to...
I'm here.
Somebody had something there?
Patient.
Was that something to share with the group? Okay. Well, anyway, a buddy's a great idea. And, we kind of have a community of folks that tune in. We've got 20 on today's call. It's a little bit smaller than, sometimes we get 30 or so in this monthly webinar, but, maybe reach out to somebody on the list here if you want to get a buddy going. We tried that with one of our classes, and I think it worked quite well. I assigned people buddies and or they had their own. So it really does help to have somebody to do it with, or somebody to bounce things off of. So, and of course, I'm always available. So if you ever have any questions or needs or anything comes up regarding your practice, I'm happy to help. So getting some background noise there, it's okay, but feel free to, if you have anything to add, or is that just... Yeah,
but I just wanted to just share how I was in that class when we assigned the buddies, and yes. We continued to do it for months, and it's like a lifeline, and it's
right.
Really important during these stressful times to have someone to someone from work that I connect to every week, and we walk and talk, and it's just great to catch up and support each other.
Excellent. Yeah, and that I'm glad to hear that started with that class when we did that. So yeah, good. Keep it going. And for anybody else, I mean, this more and more the things that I read about meditation was originally conceived as a sort of a group activity. And of course, it feels very solo in some ways when we're doing it on our own, but it's a great way to do with people. So, and I appreciate you guys coming here and hopefully coming to some of our phone meditations. That's another way we get a little bit of that feeling The Insight Timer app, if you ever use it, you notice you can also connect with other people, and you can see it tells you how many people are meditating right now. It's sort of interesting to see that stuff too. All right, so wanted to just simply introduce quickly this idea of searching inside yourself. In fact, that's actually a term that I came across that I think was used in Google, the Search Inside Yourself Institute. But one of the instructors that I like a lot is Jeff Warren from 10% Happier. And so he talks about this idea of investigating patterns. And if you recall, it has a lot to do with being aware of our thoughts as they come and go, and looking and being curious about the patterns of our thoughts. So that's what we're going to be doing. And I'm going to mute Valerie there because I think I'm getting some background noise. Good. So if you recall, and if you were in one of my classes that we did on the flashlight or the focus, it's the idea of developing a sense of concentration, but also relaxation. And I often say it's if you can find a nice balance of being attentive and relaxed as we're doing a meditation, that's a great way to begin, in a kind of an attitude, in a way to bring your attention. And so with the focus and the flashlight of attention, it's our way of really being focused and developing that muscle of being concentrated. But that's very different than opening up and being curious about the things that do distract us. And what's kind of interesting about the book that Peak Mind, that I base that stuff off of, is first you kind of hone your focus and you use something like, we use the flashlight image of really focusing in on a very particular spot in your breath, for example, but you can also do it in your body as you do a body scan, as a way to kind of really sharpen that focus and train your attention system. Because we are so distracted. There are so many different distractions in our lives. So it's something to really practice. But the next step of this, and this is what Jeff Warren talks about in terms of investigating patterns, that there's a classic progression in meditation. So first we work on building up our concentrative attention powers. And we do that by paying attention, as I said, to the breath, or you can use a flashlight, or you can count your breaths, or you can mentally note to yourself, if that helps, in on the in breath, out on the out breath, or you can use words that say, for example, calm as you breathe in, ease as you breathe out, just all as a way of really focusing our attention. But once our attention is stable and we're able to develop that sort of on call, in a sense, we can get curious about the distractions. Now, we're never going to get rid of all these distractions, right? There's so many things that hijack our attention. But so we can get curious about that, and we can notice what our go-to thought patterns are, right? We can notice the sticky thoughts, the repetitive thoughts that keep coming up. And these are the patterns that, I think I shared once that one of mine, I had a trip not too long ago, and I realized that I would get really anxious about, making connections to, a train or a mass transit or something like that to get somewhere. And that anxiety was, really fueled by some of the thoughts, the repetitive thought patterns about what would happen if I was going to be late, and what happened if I missed the bus, and what happened if we didn't get there on time and we missed, and all those things kind of start cascading. Those for me were some of my repetitive thought patterns. So the first meditation that we're going to do is going to really focus on that. We're going to get curious about that a little bit. So, and as he said, it turns out that these patterns are getting activated all the time, even when we're sitting in meditation. And fortunately, the more practice we have in noticing them, the less likely we'll get sucked in to some of those patterns. And that's really what the insight is all about. And so let's do the meditation. And it's called Investigating Patterns. So find a position that you're comfortable with. Take a moment to adjust and put yourself into that nice, relaxed, attentive position so that you can relax the body and let the mind begin to settle, but also as a way to be able to pay attention, to follow along. So you don't want to be over relaxed. You don't want to kind of fall asleep, right? You want to be able to stay awake and stay attentive. And so it may help to close the eyes. And if you prefer, you can always keep the eyes slightly open with a downward, unfocused gaze down in front of you. Either way, but so taking a moment or two to really get yourself, your body into a good, comfortable position. And feeling the breath, as we did in our pause, noticing the body sitting here. Gathering and focusing our attention through the body, the anchor of the body as we sit. You can zero in on a particular point like your feet on the ground or your body sitting in the chair being supported. And again, being aware of the breath. You don't have to do anything with the breath at this point, just feel the breath. The breath is a place where we can come back to. It's our home base. So we're lightly committing to the anchor of the breath or the body, if you prefer, as a way that we can have that anchor as a place to return to anytime we wish. So staying with the breath for now in a relaxed, easygoing manner. This is simple concentration meditation. And at some point, in a very secret kind of way or a subtle way, some pattern rises up and you get sucked in or hijacked, taken over by the pattern. It could be anything. It could be boredom. Really, this is meditation. I could be doing something different right now. I could be getting things done, being productive. It might be something that you notice arising in your thoughts. If that happens, just note to yourself boredom or label it as you feel appropriate, and then come back to the breath. Or maybe the pattern is confusion. You're not sure what's going on. You're not sure whether you're inside a pattern or not. So label it confusion and come back to the breath. The idea is to stay curious, to watch the mind as it creates new patterns, or as old patterns surface. So each moment of being hijacked is a new learning opportunity. We're staying with the breath, but also noticing where the mind goes when it's checking out. And where is it checking out to? It may be that most of what's pulling you away are simple physical and external things, a feeling of indigestion or itching or discomfort or sound. The general rule here is if it's strong enough to pull you away from the breath, then note it and explore it with curiosity. What is this thing? And what's your attitude toward it? Following this pattern like an investigator of your consciousness. And if the pattern plays itself out or gets too strong, then you can always go back to your home base anytime you like. But remembering to kind of be curious about these patterns, noticing where that train of thoughts was taking you. You can sort of label it. It might be some sort of memory or a fantasy or something off the to-do list or a sound or feeling in the body. Whenever those quote unquote distractions arise, notice them, be curious about them. What's your attitude toward them? So we are noticing patterns where curiosity is king, exploring the subtle ways we get pulled away from our commitments. We're investigating and in some cases busting patterns of feeling and thinking and acting that sneak up on us and hijack us in all these different ways. We're simply trying to catch them in the act. And the genius of meditation is that it gives us the option of going along with these patterns or not. So we get to be aware of them in meditation, but then we can also apply them in real life. So see what secret patterns you can catch in the act as you go about your day. And when you're ready, we'll start to finish the meditation. You can gently open your eyes, letting some light in if they've been closed. Move around a little bit, and we'll finish that first meditation. All right, so thanks for joining me in that one. Curious to know what that was like. If you have any comments, please feel free to share them either in the chat or if you want to speak up, you're welcome to do that. But again, that's a little different. We do a similar kind of thing in some of the classes where we investigate thoughts. We pay more attention to thoughts arising as mental events. And this one is, I like this one because it's, really looking at the patterns, those conditioned patterns that we all have. So wondering if you noticed anything. So the next area that I wanted to go in, then this is the let go part. This particular poem I heard from Tara Brach, but she referenced it's from the Tibetan teacher Talopa, and it's let go. And so we're going to let go of the past, let go of what may come, let go of what is happening now. Don't try to figure anything out. Don't try to make anything happen. Relax right now and rest. So we'll use that in the next meditation. But I thought that was a nice poem, and I'm not sure how some of you feel, but I think a lot of people, a lot of us perhaps, have trouble with that middle part. Letting go of what's happening right now, and don't try to figure anything out. Don't try to make anything happen. That's not easy. Now, maybe we can practice that in the meditation, but I think in real life that's awfully hard, especially for us in healthcare, because that's, when you think about it, that's often what we're trying to do. We're trying to figure out what's going on. We're trying to problem solve. We're trying to make things happen. So I'm not saying not to be proactive in what we do in our work, but this is a great way to kind of incorporate this concept of letting go, because sometimes we're holding on to so much. We're holding on to things in the past. We're holding on to things that we're worried about that haven't even happened in the future. So yes, and please send that to us and I can print it out. Yeah, what I'll do is I'll send out the whole slide, so you'll have the poem as well. And but I think, yeah, I'm noticing a couple of comments here. I think we can all relate to this, and letting go is not easy, or even accepting things as they are, which is sort of like another way of saying letting be. And so that's what our last meditation will be on. This is again from Tara Brach. She talks about one way of understanding meditation is a letting go of the habitual clenching thoughts. So it's kind of like the next step. That's why I thought of that, as we investigate patterns and we start to identify some of those thought patterns and sticky thoughts that are clenching. The clenching that resists emotions and pulls away from aliveness itself. Again, those are words of Tara Brach. So the meditation guides us in letting go, first through the body, and then practicing letting go of thoughts and relaxing and resting in the changing flow of experience. The blessing of letting go is a homecoming into the truth of wholeness of what we are, for realization of reality and freedom. So the meditation that we'll do next is we'll use the poem kind of as a guidepost in a sense, and we'll do that. I'm going to sort of actually I have one meditation from Rick Hanson. Somebody mentioned Dr. Rick Hanson before. So he has a lot of techniques for letting go of in the body, but also letting go of emotions. So we'll do a couple of those. We'll incorporate a couple of different ways to let go in this next meditation. So here's the image I have for us. Letting go and letting be. All right, so again, let's take a moment to get ourselves prepared, finding a good sitting position, or you could be laying down, you could be standing. We find that there's lots of different ways that we can find positions that are good for us as we do these practices. So whatever works for you. I think most of us are probably sitting. So beginning with the body and establishing a basic ability to relax. So right now, sitting here comfortable and just breathing and just being aware of the breath to start, knowing when you're breathing in and knowing when you're breathing out. And let's start by bringing our attention to 3 exhalations. And notice how simply bringing your awareness to exhaling may make you feel more relaxed. So you might want to deepen your in and out breath at this point. So breathing in, and now really focusing on the out breath. Again, breathing in. And as we breathe out, feeling the body settle and relax, soften and release. One more time, breathing in. And now really focusing on this last exhale and just letting go. And now let's do 3 more exhalations with the specific intention to let go. And it's okay if you find yourself exhaling a little longer to fulfill that intention of letting go. So 3 more nice full breaths in. And as you exhale, focus in on that intention of letting go of whatever needs to be let go of. Again, breathing in and long, slow exhale, letting go. What is it that maybe letting go of tension in the body? Maybe letting go of one of those repetitive thoughts. Whatever first comes to your awareness, just letting go of that, whatever you might be holding on to. And now another technique with the breath, and this is another good one to help relax, again from Rick Hansen. As you exhale, focus on relaxing your diaphragm, part of your body that's located just below the rib cage that enables your breathing to occur. You can feel it dropping down as you inhale and rising as you exhale. See if you can focus in on the diaphragm, that area. Feeling it drop down as you inhale and rising as you exhale to allow air to come and to push it out. So let's do that for three cycles of breath, focusing on that area of the diaphragm. And on the last exhale, you might just allow the whole belly, lower part of your torso to sink in and let go and soften and relax. And just continuing to follow your breath gently, giving yourself permission to just be here and to let go. And we're going to use another technique of imagery now to let go of body tensions and any of those kinds of sensations. So get an image of being at a pond or the beach, place that you find tranquil and serene, it's warm, it's comfortable. Any place that just brings up feelings of being really, really relaxed. And get a sense of you being there in a very relaxed, tranquil setting. And as you place yourself in that scene and get in touch with what the scene is like, what it looks like, what it feels like, what sounds are in this scene, this tranquil, peaceful place. Allow all the tension to drain out of you. You can even imagine the tension draining out of valves on your fingertips and your toes. And you're in this very peaceful place with all attention draining out, letting go. And now just continuing to breathe and follow the cycle of your breathing. Now we're going to go back to almost like we did with the investigating patterns. I want you to be aware of mental activity. So whatever thoughts are arising, and if there's any related emotions. So just being aware of thoughts and emotions as they come and go. And in particular, if there's any particular thoughts that you want to let go of or emotions you'd like to let go of, using the same kind of techniques, either letting go through a relaxing of the belly or breathing out, letting go on the out breath, or letting go through that imagery, just letting go of any thoughts that might be stressful, any emotions that might be tugging at you, just letting them go as well, draining out, letting go, intentionally letting go. And if it's hard to let go of completely, you can just maybe acknowledge it, label it like we did before, and just see if you can let it be. And all that really means is that you include it, you acknowledge that it's arising in your experience, but we're trying to accept it and let it be. Just surrender to the reality that it's there. It's not your preference, you're just letting it be there. So if you like, if there's any kind of negative emotion floating around or thoughts in your awareness, name it to yourself, accept that it's here, and continue to breathe slowly and deeply if that helps. Now let's anchor in the body again, just noticing whatever is predominant in the body right now, being open and receptive to what shows up in the moment. Scanning again for any tightness or tension, and seeing if we can allow it to simply be or to let go of it, even if it's a strong energy. So kind of in a sense, relaxing the body. Letting go with your breathing. Letting go with some imagery. Just releasing and relaxing and softening. And just being aware of whatever is in our attention field, saying yes to whatever arises, so that you feel it as a constellation of sensations in your body, and regarding with kindness whatever arises. Acknowledging it, asking yourself, can I be with this? And we may notice wanting to get rid of it or to fix it or push it away. If you can, let it go, or just see if you can simply let it be. And we may notice a commentary arise about it, which can add fuel to the fire, and that's okay. That's a natural and common tendency. Just notice the opinion or the dislike you have and stay with the direct experience itself. Welcome everything. Push away nothing. Allowing, letting it be, being curious, open, receptive. This is how it is now. Now, letting all your senses be wide open. Let your body and mind be relaxed and receptive. And just allow life to flow freely through you, wide open. Your moment-to-moment experience. Simply allowing our awareness to hold it all. And as we begin to finish, imagine as you complete this meditation, bringing this state of awareness, this open awareness, this allowing attitude, this letting go and letting be. Bring that to whatever you do next. So that life itself is our meditation practice. And when we do resume to doing, we don't have to abandon the being that we practice here. So as this meditation ends, you may want to open your eyes slowly and wiggle your fingers and toes, stretch out in whatever way feels comfortable. And with that, we finish. Thank you for your practice. So we're getting a little deeper here, some of this stuff, and hope you found it interesting and helpful. Any questions? What do you think? What do you think of going into this kind of little more depth kind of work? Thank you all. I see your thank yous in the chat. Appreciate that. Thanks for being here. And yeah, like we said before, get a buddy. It's a great way to continue or use this group or our phone meditations. And thanks very much. I'm going to stop the recording and I'll let you go, but I will be on for another minute or so if anybody has any questions.